Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we are entering to 4th chapter. It's known as Dhyāna Vibhāga Yoga, Yoga of Wisdom. Another name for it, Dhyāna Karma Sannyasa Yoga. An insight is being given in the mystical term of sannyas. What is absolute renunciation? Through jnana, through knowledge. First verse, I may be reiterating few verses. I always remember, it's Gaza Parinyaya. Imam vivasvate yogam praktavānaham abhyayam vivasvāna manave praha manurikṣvākave bravīt. This imperishable yoga was first proclaimed by me to the Sun God. The Sun God in turn taught it to sage Manu. And from Manu it was passed to King Ikṣvāku. 3 stages of divine descent. Avatara means descending, bending down to lift up. Sun in human personality represents intellect. Moon represents mind. As knowledge enters in individual, the descending process is at intellect level, there comes Vibhāga, a discriminative wisdom. And that brings about absolute purity of the mind. Ikṣvāku is the soul in an individual who is to be lifted. Ikṣvāku term comes from Iksha, that means sight, awakened soul, implying spiritual aspirant. In Puranic language, which is highly allegorical, God's descent is given in a macrocosmic aspect. The whole universe is the creation of God. And don't focus too much on the universe, then allegorical. Focus on the Earth planet. This Earth planet, for all human beings, this is the planet that keeps all human beings. Can you imagine any other human being? This Earth planet was created millions and millions of years ago. Why was it created? So that all the humanity on the earth can play their drama of bondage and release. Without the solar energy constantly pouring upon the earth, not a single life can survive. All the beauty and the glory of the earth is because of the sun. Is the sun just a mass of matter? Always understand in Vedanta, matter doesn't matter. Matter is an expression of Brahman. Remember the Vedantic plan. Prakṛti, the Maya Shakti of Brahman. Prakṛti doesn't exist. But those who are deluded by Prakṛti, for them, duality becomes the root cause. There is Brahman and there is his Prakṛti. And through the Prakṛti, Brahman has expressed himself in 3 ways. Sattva predominating Prakṛti is called Maya. Brahman through Maya plays the role of Īśvara, God, the ruler, the controller, the guide, the guru, the inspirer. That's Īśvara's role. And Īśvara is, again, allegorically, plays three important roles. As creator, he is called Brahmā. As sustainer, he is called Viṣṇu. As dissolver, destroyer, he is called Śiva. All the three are not three different functions through Maya. But God at this stage, sustaining the world, creating the world is not ordinary, it's the entire universe. Every little detail is controlled by intelligence. Intelligence that is not cold and calculative, but immensely loving. If that were not so, how could have that love entered into all creatures? Even the monkeys, the kitten, the lizards, all creatures, the birds. The young one of a bird looks at the mother. One look is sufficient. The mother will not forget the baby. Can walk, go into the sky hundreds of miles, come back to its young one. No cell phones, no addresses. Do you think all this can be explained just by inert matter? Just by chemical combinations, all this happens. The immense role of the sun, the orb of the sun. And think of your eyes. Eyes in human beings called adhyatma, subjective. The orb of the sun is objective, adhibhuta. The deity that connects that sun and your eyes, adhidaiva. When you look at the sun, you are looking at God, adhidaiva. Though different limbs and different parts of your personality have their corresponding presiding deities, but it's better just to know that all the deities are one God in different expressions. Sun God presides your eyes. Moon God presides your mind. Viṣṇu presides your feet. Just a simple illustration. But these are not different gods, the same one divine self. Because of different roles, they are given different names. So when you look at the world, the most highlighted presence of God shines forth before you as the sun. Though sun is nothing but just vast matter. And yet, every little seed receives nourishment in exactly the way it needs. The divine hand behind the sun, the divine hand operating within your eyes, connects them. Therefore, from ancient times, sun has been the symbol of God. And one of the best of prayers is called Gayatri Mantra. Bhūrvuvah tatsaviturvarenyam bhargo devasya dhīmahi dhiyo yo nah prachodayat. That sun with the illuminer, Bhūrvuvah, illuminer of the three lokas. Three lokas, to understand in a practical way. The world that is experienced by your senses, Bhūrloka. The world that is experienced by your sentiments, Bhuvarloka. The world that is experienced by your thoughtful state of mind, by your intellect, Swaraloka. All these are illumined by the God who is absolute conscious. That absolute consciousness has allegorical presence in the form of the sun. So, Bhurbhuva Swatat Saviturvarenya. That sun that illumines the three planes within every individual, we adore that. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. The effulgence of that God we invoke. May that divine effulgence, divine luminosity, the light, yo nah prachodayat, or may our intellect be illumined by that light of the sun, the All-Illuminer. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. From darkness lead me to light. The sun has become the symbol of illumination, light. That's therefore what Krishna says in an allegorical way. First thing that in creation that we encounter as we were looking at the creation, sun. The sun that received the knowledge from the Brahman, the Absolute. Intellect within you is the closest to the divine potentiality within yourself. That's microcosmically. Macrocosmically, the sun is the most important aspect that illumines the whole world. I'll call it world, not universe, because there are many suns. But in allegorical knowledge, here sun implies all illuminate. So God as if gave that knowledge first to the sun. From sun it was transmitted to Manu. Consciousness operating through mental state. Apply it in individual way, subjective way. Intellect the highest within you. The next comes mind. If intellect and mind, they become the basis of illuminating or bringing enlightenment to your soul. But your soul has to be prepared with divine qualities, with adhikaritva, qualifications. So that type of soul is a spiritual aspirant. Allegorical name is Ikṣvāku, awakened. Soul that has opened its eyes. But just as knowledge dawns in the soul, like as if coming down from higher to the lower, step by step. Macrocosmically, a divine presence comes to the world. Look at the history of the universe, of the world. Every now and then, there emerges some great personality from ancient times in all over the world. And people cling to that glorious illustration of the example, the source of inspiration. India has the fortune of focusing the mind in that direction. So here, Avatara, that has not been just once. It goes on coming again and again. And it will never stop. But all over the world, every religion has been inspired by a source, by a great prophet, Son of God, or by different spiritual leaders. saints and sages. All saints and sages are as if incarnations of God in Hindu culture. Therefore, Bhagavan term can be used for anyone. Bhagavan, God. Matri Devo Bhava, mother is God. You don't like God, goddess. I'm just joking. Father is God. Guru is God. Guru Brahmā, Guru Viṣṇu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. So you don't have to look for avatars. And if you look more acutely, you are potential God. And you are to envision, experience the descent of God within yourself, descending in your intellect, descending in your mind, descending in your sentiment level, sense level. And your soul becomes transfigured into absolute. I will not go into too much detail that way. So, this is the Puranic history. God first taught Sun God. Sun God loved his son Manu, so he taught Manu. Manu taught his son Ikṣvāku. And then onwards, Guru Shishya Parampara, Guru teaching the disciple. Disciple becoming Guru, teaching the other disciple. And that tradition is unbroken. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashtaha parantapa. O scorcher of the foes, spiritual aspirants are given that type of adjective. If you are a hero in your spiritual movement, then you are described as a scorcher of your foes. Who are your foes? Shadripus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, desire, anger, greed, etc. And you live to scorch them. To bring about Dagdha Vasana. All these are reduced to Vasana level. Vasanas are led into as if burnt up, scorched. The royal sages knew this yoga as it was handed down from one to another in succession. But due to the lapse of time, this tradition has been lost. This tradition, Guru Shishya Parampara, that keeps the dharma, the role of dharma continues on this earth. Dharma, virtue, ethical value of life. But whenever that ethical value is at risk, the world will not go on without correcting it. Just like whenever there is low pressure in the atmosphere, nature will not tolerate it. Immediately wind gathers to fill it. The ordinary type of imbalance you can see in the nature and how it is corrected by nature. Don't ignore. Higher nature is your mind. Things that impact on human heart, on mind, love, joy, experience of peace, good qualities. Understand they are much more real than this practical world. God who takes care of this practical world with all detail, do you think He will not take care of those points, subtle points within you? So therefore, when humanity comes under a kind of terroristic attitude to life, a corrective movement emerges in divine plan. But that is one aspect of this study. That aspect should not become your focus. Your focus should be microcosmic, how it comes to you. Because if you focus on the external, macrocosmic, then you will be simply looking at astrologers. When will Kali Yuga change? Not realizing that even if you are born in Krishna's time, you never know whether you will be born as you were born as Sushupal or Duryodhana. Simply being born at a time when there is Avatara, that doesn't in any way guarantee anything to you. The moral of the story is God's incarnation can happen right within you. And if you prepare, become the aspirant, prepare the vessel, God descends. God descends in you to lift up your lower self. Anger, hate, etc., all are short-circuited energy. And God incarnates big electrician. He corrects all the short circuits and enables you to walk up to the roof of your personality. And likewise, in the world around you, every now and then saintly personalities emerge. And they bring about a tremendous impact on the masses. But as I said, your focus should be not on history. When will God come? But a movement towards God realization is your reality. It's not dependent on time, dependent on you and your devotion towards God. Once you have commenced that process, all avatars begin to develop within you. If you want to dramatize, I will tell you. First avatara comes a mean avatara, not the English mean. Fish. Insight enters your mind. As you entertain or accept that insight and work with it, it outgrows your mind. The capacity of your mind is transcendent. You have no choice but to allow your mind to expand. Until in ordinary way of saying, your mind is blown away. Some of the avatars were just pointed out. The next, that very God incarnates as a turtle, Kurma avatar, and plays the role of churning the ocean, bringing out nectar. A dramatization of pratyahar, dharana, dhyāna, and samadhi. Pratyahar is withdrawal of the senses, blended with faith within you. So the turtle aspect within you, which has withdrawn the senses and strength has come into your heart. It holds the Meru mountain of faith. And your mind becomes involved as a Vasuki Nag, as a divine serpent. Gods and demons, virtuous qualities within you, forces of higher self, forces of lower self. They become involved in churning the mind. You cannot practice meditation if you have only sattva. Sattva, rajas, tamas all go together. But only in this churning process, rajas, tamas, they are always the loser. Sattva goes on gaining. So the same God has come in your life in the form of pratyahara. Likewise, the same God comes within you as Narasingha. You are a human being, but suddenly you realize there is a lion within you. All the time you have been just a bleating sheep. Now you have a lion-like strength. And along with that strength, you have developed devotion of Prahlad. Supreme devotion has emerged in your heart. All these are highly allegorical. You don't keep your mind involved only in a historical way. So whenever there is need for God to descend, God comes. Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratana bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. You are my friend and devotee. Therefore, I declare this same ancient yoga to you, which is indeed a supreme secret. Same thing that I taught to the sun, the same thing that the sun taught to Manu, and the Manu taught to Ikṣvāku, very same thing what Arjuna I am going to tell you. Why? Because you are my friend. That understand certain points like friendly relation with God enables you to receive the greatest inspiration that you can have from the divine presence within you. Now it turns your attention to different types of devotees. Devotees are those who have turned their mind to God. First type of devotees are those who have not built any special attitude, but there is a secret, undefinable love for God, called Śāntarasa. First type of devotees. The major types I will just point out to you. Vātsalya bhāva, where devotees love God as if God is their child. A parental love towards God. It's not known so much in others. It will be considered blasphemy. You can play with God in your heart and slap him every now and then. And the baby likes it. Implication: God has not become a basis for business. I will worship you, you give me this. In all relations, there is some business. In mother-child relation, there is no such thing. If you have developed that devotion, they call Vātsalya bhāva. If you have developed that, that's very advanced state. And it's very pleasing. Anyone who has developed lives in a world of immense joy. Prior to that, I have just missed one called Dāsya bhāva. Dāsya bhāva means an attitude: God is the master, I am a slave. Here your feelings are not so well developed. But one thing has happened, you have no worries. You have a loving master. The master takes care of all problems. And a slave is just looks at his face, does the work, gets inspired, and the master is always pleased. It's not ordinary slave tradition. God's slave. Coming to next step, Vātsalya, which I have explained to you. Third step, friendly. Now we have become friends. Friends imply open-hearted relationship. As long as you have a question in your mind, if I'm meditating, if I'm praying, what should I pray for? You have not come to Sakhya yet. Because when you deal with friends, you don't have that type of discussion in your mind. What should I tell my friend? Friendly relation is open-hearted relation. So it is dramatized in Mahabharata. Every now and then Arjuna scolds Krishna. No, Krishna, I don't understand you at all. Even now he's just going to say, why are you saying? You taught sun God? I just know you are son of Vasudeva Deva. And your birth occurred just in this era. And you will say, and I have to believe it. So that type of attitude where you are approaching God not with awe, not with certain type of fear, but approaching God as friend approaching friend. And the last one is called Madhurya. Madhurya means you have love for God has become absolutely perfect, blossoms. Lali mere lal ki vit dekhaun kitla. Words of Kabira. I went out to look for the beauty of my beloved. But wherever I turned, I saw that divine presence. Until I myself is a part. That's divine love reaching the climax. Here, if it has reached the climax, then Gita will not be there. Krishna is at the stage of Sakhya, friends. Arjuna uvacha. Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha athame tadvijaniyam pamadau proktavaniti. Arjuna asked, O Krishna, you were born much later. Well, the sun god was born in the distant past. How am I to understand then that you taught this knowledge to the sun god in the beginning of creation? You taught it much before your birth. Shri Bhagavan uvacha. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna tanyam veda sarvani natvam vetha parantapa. Lord Krishna said, O Arjuna, you and I have passed through numerous embodiments. I know them all. But you, O destroyer of foes, do not remember them. It is an allegorical description of Jīva and Īśvara. Soul and God, they are always there. In the words of the Upanishad, Dva Suparna Sanjuja Sakhya, two birds resting on the same tree. One bird goes on eating the fruits, and the fruits are sweet and sour. And this bird is addicted, just goes on eating. Doesn't know when to stop. With one big illusion that the next fruit will be better tasting than the previous one. But every now and then, the fruit becomes so sour that all the previous good experiences are neutralized. The bird wants to pick another one. Suddenly becomes so sweet. The bird becomes inspired. May I get one? This has gone on from beginningless time. And there is other bird looking. He has seen all this play of this bird, all the foolery of this little bird. Nothing has missed him, missed his eyes. He knows them all. And the God knows everything. That conjures up in human mind like knowing data, as if it's a big computer, and everything you want to know is all there in his record. If everything is real, then it would be something to consider. All experience is like dream. Do you have any concern for remembering your dream? Does any scientist work for making an instrument that can be planted in the brain, that all your dreams are recorded? So will not miss a single dream. That would be ridiculous. Much in the same way, the idea that someone keeps a record of everything that happens in this world, that completely a dullwit way of thinking. It simply means just like the sun looks upon the earth, there is nothing that has not been within the view of the sun. So we can say the sun is all knower. But if you go to the sun and ask, can you tell me how many lizards we have or squirrels in the garden? Sun God has a people. So he is all knowing. I'm dramatizing to make it clear. The movement towards God is not to gain a psychic power. Movement towards God is to realize all this is Brahman. The entire world experience is illusion. Just like when you sleep, nothing do you get in your consciousness beyond. Enlightenment, the entire world moves away because the world is nothing but illusion, like mirage. But all the while you know the mirage and go through it, the knower behind this mirage is always God. When you ask the question, who is the knower? Even though the object that you are knowing is very little, you are smelling a flower. Who is the smeller? Look for it. God. Not you. Keeping that in view, Krishna says, I know them all, but you don't know. Ajopi sannab vyayatma bhutanam Īśvaropi san Prakṛtim swamadhisthāya sambhavāmyatma māyaya. I am unborn. Now certain attributes of God are being presented before you so that you can create an affirmation within yourself. Because human mind goes on asserting I am this body. I am born in a rich family, or I'm born in a poor family. I'm miserable, I'm fortunate. That type of constant affirmation is kind of japa. And that becomes your reality. But these affirmations are based on falsehood. Things that you are asserting, I am body, that's not real. You don't take your body even in your dream. In sleep, you discard it. From birth, you go on kicking. But instead of allowing your mind to constantly dwell upon illusory concepts about the self, allow the mind to dwell upon who am I. But all on a sudden, you don't have that experience, now don't have the idea. Therefore, you bring to your mind affirmations given to you by sages and saints. What are those affirmations? Ajopi, unborn, God's descriptions of God. They are descriptions of the self within you. Names of God are names of your own inner self. God is first name Aja, unborn. Because anything that is born will die. In relation to countless reflected suns are born and they die. Speaking allegorically, the sun remains the same. So with relation to the sun we say that sun is unborn. With relation to reflected suns, they say yes. When the pot was made, the water was put, then the sun was born. And all the reflected suns, they are going to be born and they die. And they move from bucket to bucket. God as the sun is ever the same. That God you are, due to mental illusion, your attention has gone towards the reflected self. But you have the ability not to be trapped with your physical reality. You have the ability not to be limited by your nerve. The reality not to be limited by your circumstances. Not to be limited by your mental state. Just like day by day you enter deep sleep in a natural way. Unknowingly you get beyond all. Knowingly try to get beyond all and stay up there. That's the process of enlightenment. And while you are going up there, even though you have not reached, start saying, I am not the body. Body has birth and death. I am unborn, imperishable. Avyaya Atma. Avyaya. Vyaya means that which waxes and wanes. Things that get old and they begin to decay. Everything in the world follows that. But I am avyaya. There is no decay, no waxing, no waning. Absolute. From absolute point of view, you are not. You are just the same, eternal. That experience is mukti, liberation. The Lord of all beings, all the souls, they have their source in the sun. All the reflected suns have their source in the sun. The sun, therefore, figuratively, is the Lord of all those reflected beings. That God being your potentiality. Of course, it is placed in the lips of Krishna Krishna, who is representing the enlightened state of the soul. The message is that every soul is Krishna. And what Krishna is asserting about himself or speaking about himself, those qualities should be your affirmations. Yet by controlling my own Prakṛti, I embody myself by my own Maya. You are being given that aspect of Brahman who, through Maya, Sattvic predominating Prakṛti, Sattva predominating Prakṛti, plays the role of Īśvara, God who is the ruler of all souls, who leads the souls to their karmic fruits according to their karmas, who showers grace on them, who inspires people for better purushartha, self-effort. The entire world is being under the guidance of God. Those who are going up, those who are going down, they are all under the divine order, divine plan. And yet, that God is absolutely the non-doer, doing nothing. Sun doesn't do anything. But all things happen because the sun rises. Countless things happen. And yet when you look at the sun, you don't even want to look at it. And with this, Om Shanti.